Hey everybody, it's me, Angel Benton, and it is time for another edition of Angel Sudsy Recap, where we delve into the world of daytime television and we do a few reality shows on the side. And one of the reality shows that we're doing is Vanderpump Rules, because you know I love that show. I'm obsessed with it. So on Vanderpump Rules, I'm just going to dive right into it. So on Vanderpump Rules this week, a lot happened. We saw, Arianna, last week she was talking about how, she hates her, she does not care for her vagina, she doesn't like people seeing her naked and all that stuff, right? And this week she actually discussed, and then she actually talked to a therapist about it, which was very, very mature of her to discuss her problems. I think everyone could use a little bit of therapy, to be honest with you. So what happened was she ended up having this talk with Tom. Now, Tom loves Arianna very much, and but he is a man, and there were some, he was like, when we first started dating, we were having sex all the time, and I get that the newness wears off, but, now we don't have it at all. And, you went from having multiple orgasms. And she was like, I've never had multiple orgasms. He's like, yes, you did. And she was like, okay, are you really going to hold something that I said to impress you? He's like, you did not just say that to impress me. And I'm thinking, how can you not know that a woman is faking it? I just totally spit. So gross. Okay. Because, it's pretty obvious that, I don't know. Can't believe I'm even talking about this. In terms of their sex life, I don't know what kind of a comer, Arianna is, but I know most women, not all of them. Some of them are squirters, and you can tell. But otherwise it's just and anyone can fake that. So, and lots of women do. So I don't understand why it was so difficult for Tom to believe that Arianna was not having multiple orgasms. Whatever. Anyways, but they promised to work on it, and they were very supportive. And okay, so basically this episode was the battle of the two dueling birthday parties, because, as luck would have it, if that's what you want to call it, Stassi has her birthday on the exact same day as Arianna. But if you think about it, whenever you think about, they're not sisters, but whenever you think about, twins and one's good and one's bad, you know what I mean? And, of course they're going to have birthdays on the same day, right? And Arianna and Stassi, they're both blondes. It's fascinating, but so they had dueling parties. Okay. Now Arianna's party was king and queen themed, and everyone had to dress up as a king or a queen. So they did. And then Stassi's party was murder themed. Now you can dress up to go to her party, but it wasn't a requirement. And she invited a few interesting people. One of them was, obviously, almost all of her family was there except Nikolai. I don't think Nikolai was there. But her other brother and sister were there. And also, she invited Patrick, and he showed up. And, who else? Oh, Ariel, who was the stripper that last season when they went to New Orleans for Katie's birthday, and the stripper came. She was the stripper, and they just happened to run into her in Los Angeles the night before, and she was like, please come to my birthday party. Okay, so that's kind of where they were at with the parties, right? And then Tom, first of all, Tom basically, okay. So Tom Sandoval, and this is who we're talking about, Sandoval. Sandoval basically showed that he's like, whenever it comes to dressing up, costumes, I can't be basic. And then he showed pictures of all of his costumes, and they were all very elaborate and fierce. And it makes me wonder, why is he not doing this? Like, I mean, like, first of all, he looked like a total cosplayer, right? So if you don't do cosplay, it's costume play, which it's a contraction of those two words, and lots of people are into cosplay. I have a couple friends on Facebook. Shout out to Chris Riley and Jason Schachter Kiss and Valerie Colley. They're all really into cosplay and they all look fierce. So, and sometimes the characters they come up with are great. And I'm thinking, why doesn't Tom do that? He has such a talent. It's obvious. He could totally do all of that, right? And not just that, but why isn't he doing something in fashion? I mean, like, I don't know what Lisa Vanderpump pays the people at SUR, right? And obviously there are some fringe benefits because he gets to be on this show and he's been on it every single season. So, I mean, like, he could easily get a job in the costuming department at Disneyland. Easily, not even thinking twice. I just don't know. I mean, and maybe I'm sure he's probably a good bartender too. I mean, him and Arianna actually take their jobs very seriously, unlike some others, which we'll discuss in a moment. So, maybe he enjoys bartending as well. Maybe he's multi-talented. So, but I didn't know any of this. It's not like he ever mentioned. I knew he was a model, and I knew that he was a musician. And I know he was a bartender, and that was it. I had no idea he was this incredible, costume person. Okay. All right, so anyway, so he was wearing this... He said that it was very Game of Thrones, and it looked very Game of Thrones, but at the same time, it looked very Maleficent. He did look a lot like Maleficent. And Billy... she's not a drag queen. She is a transsexual. I apologize, Billy. I did not mean that. Billy is the transsexual who is new this season. And she was talking to Tom, and she was like, oh my God, I've heard such wonderful things about your drag. Because when he did Sia, he didn't do Sia. He was in drag, but he looked exactly like Sia. And I'm surprised that no one else called him Sia since then, because he does look like fucking Sia. Like, I mean, it was crazy. He did look like her. It was great. It was great, though. Anyways. But Billy seemed to have a good time at the party, and Arianna was dressed like a queen with this crown around, but it was more like a halo around her head, and she looked just like Beyonce. I think it was at the Grammys that Beyonce wore this outfit, like, with the crown and the dress, and I think that's what it was, and she looked just like her. Like, not just like Beyonce, but I mean, like, the costume looked just like Beyonce's costume. So I was like, okay, all right, you go, girl, fierce. And then this is what I don't understand, and I need this explained to me. So Sheena and who was the other one? Lala. So Sheena and Lala show up to Ariana's party, and they're basically wearing lingerie and a fur coat with a crown. And I'm thinking, okay. And then, you know how I always talk about random Asian gay that works at SUR? Well, he was singing at Ariana's party, and he just kept saying, I love my kings and queens, I love my kings and queens, I love my kings. And I'm going, oh God, okay, yeah, we get it. You love your kings and queens. Let's move on. Okay, so then at Stassi's party, meanwhile, back at the ranch, at Stassi's party, she she was, as she put it herself, I was wasted on Adderall and tequila. So she's kind of drunk, and Ariel is, having fun with Katie and Kristen, and she offers to have Stassi come and do a butt shot, and she said she'll clench so that it'll hold the shot glass, and then she'll take the shot. And Stassi was like, no, I'm not about that. No, no, no. And she was getting irritated. And you know, on one hand, I understand why she was irritated. She was like, I invited Ariel to be a guest. I did not invite her to be the entertainment. And that makes sense, you know. But, you know, she goes off on this tirade and starts screaming at Kristen and Katie and like just saying hateful things, and then she walks off and leaves the party. Katie ends up having to pay $1,400 to her because she walked out on her bill. So, listen, if they were just at a restaurant and she walked out, I would be like, you know, because I mean, really, was she going to pay for her own birthday meal anyways? Obviously, you guys were going to pay for it, so I mean, whatever. But in this case, because this was like a fucking huge party, I'm like, okay, girl. I mean, that was a little bit uncalled for. But, pause. Why the hell does Katie have $1,400 that she can just pay? I mean, like, wow, okay. And then that makes me wonder again, well, damn, how much does Lisa pay these people? You know? Maybe she pays them a lot. Because they all live in Los Angeles, which Los Angeles is not cheap. Okay, let me break it down for you. I had my own apartment in Studio City in 2005. Okay, so that was 13 years ago, right? And that year, my rent went from $1,100 to $1,260. Okay, $1,260 for a studio apartment, and that was in Studio City in the Valley. Now, 13 years later, rents are skyrocketing, and they live on the West Side, which is like ultra expensive. So, and they've got $1,400. I mean, like, damn. Fuck. They've got to be picking up some extra money somewhere, I would think. Shit. Anyways. And I was very disappointed in Stassi's reaction. And her boyfriend, Patrick. And she was like, and she admitted that she didn't want to do the shot, you know, because Patrick was there. And I'm thinking, no, I don't want to say that. But he was kind of douchey, you know. And obviously they have since broken up, and that's fine. I'm totally okay with that. And in fact, I feel bad for Patrick because I'm like, you should have stuck to your guns and not come on this show. Because I'm sure the people that listen to him on his sports radio talk show don't know what a jerk he is. And now they all knew. Now they all know. So, anyways, apparently and then there's Jax. Okay, so here's the thing about Jax. This is okay. I'm a little bit concerned because, you know, before on Twitter, whenever someone would come for Jax, you know, every now and then he would clap back at them, and it would be fine, you know, because, you know, he should let all those trolls have it. That's fine, right? But now I just feel like his Twitter feed is just constant attacks on people. And don't get me wrong. Those people come for him first. It's not like he goes seeking out people. But at the same time, it's like, don't care about them. Don't ignore the haters, man. Just keep going, you know? So, you know, apparently Brittany has some sort of pregnancy scare later on in this season. So I'm curious to see how that goes. Anyways, thank you so much for logging on today. I do appreciate it. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Angel Benton. You can hashtag Pump Rules to talk about Vanderpump Rules, or you can also hashtag All-Stars3 to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 3. And you can also hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel to get my YouTube videos sent to your email inbox every day. And while you're on my channel, look around for Storytime with Angel Benton, where I tell stories from my life. Alrighty, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Peace out. Wubba, wubba, wubba.